Dear viewers, welcome back. And in his many speeches, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi stressed on the development of many areas here in Egypt. And of course, the development of the desert is one of the main things that he spoke about. And he focused on the need of the nationwide development, specifically the development of Sinai to promote tourism. Talking about promoting the desert tourism development, we are joined here by Mr. Amgad Ali Hassan, tourism expert, to shed more light on how can we do this and get the best income from it. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Amgad. And
morning.
first of all, talking about the Egyptian desert, it has a very unique style and a wide range, the variety of the places in Egypt. It cannot be compared to any other place, especially when it comes to safari and all of the sand dunes. It is really different from the whole region. Tell us more about it, and because some people, when we say this, they don't still understand why we always say that the Egyptian desert is really a unique place.
You are quite right in what you have already mentioned. Egyptian desert is very unique in everything. You know, geologically speaking, Egyptian desert is, can give you a huge variety of different aspects that you may not see in other deserts in the world. I have to say that all of the Egyptian desert is part of the Saharan desert, which is one of the largest deserts in the world, which covers most of North Africa. The point is, in different geological time, many geological event has happened that made the Egyptian desert landscape unique one. The desert, most of it in the northern part of Egypt, was once under the water of the sea. That created many beautiful landscapes, like what we call the White Desert, for example. There have been volcanic eruption, underwater volcanic eruption, which created what we can call the Black Desert. When you can see the lavas, spread out, in a beautiful way. I need to say that we have the Western Desert, which is different from Sinai Desert, which is different from what we call the Red Mountain Sea Desert or the Eastern Desert, which is different from the Nubian Desert as well. Nubian Desert is mostly sandstone, and other hard stone like granite and basalt and stuff like that. So it is the life that we can see. The Egyptian desert is in abundance of life. It's a place that people may think you're not going to see anything at all. You are quite surprised when you penetrate into such a desert and see the variety of fossils that we have, like the marine fossil that we have, in the Valley of Wales, for example. We have beautiful landscape. We have beautiful oases. I think this is something that everyone comes to Egypt has to see.
But Mr. Amgad, if we have all these valuable deserts all over Egypt, why don't we make the best use of them? I mean, what are the challenges of promoting the desert tourism, for example? What do we need?
I think we need to be more creative. We need to have a vision first. We need, first of all, to know the desert, because the desert, which is the other Egypt, we know nothing about. I think that most of the viewers who are watching us, they hardly know anything about the desert, except that it's an outer stretch of sand dune after sand. Yes, we have sand dunes after sand dunes in the Great Sand Sea. I would not say we do not have such a thing. But since this is one aspect of many other aspects, we have beautiful oases. Let us start with the oases that we have there. I think we should develop them in the way that we should have better roads leading to them. I have to say that the facilities on the road are very bad. We do not have a convenient rest place for the tourists, for example. They are still very basic one that did not change from the 50s of last century. So you have to make good roads, and you have to make good hotels, 5-star hotels. You have to make good advertisement about, how it is such a beautiful paradise on earth. So we should work in advertising, we should work in development, we should pour money into this place. The oases that we have in the Western Desert, they form like a different and a new valley for Egypt. It's quite a new valley. And I think we have started recently to think about why are not trying to make use of such a huge place of Egypt. Just always remember that the desert of Egypt is more than 96%. Of Egypt. We are concentrated on the valley of the Nile and the Nile River, but I think we should pour money and we should invest in these places, because these places are just such a paradise.
But sir, just allow me, because those who are interested in the desert or who go the person who's going out for a safari, for example, he is not looking for luxurious hotels. That even we can, I think all what we need is the infrastructure that has to do with how to access such places, and of course the security, how to secure, because it is a wide area, it's a very huge place actually. And even you can find something like the hotel, it must not be even a luxurious one, and you will not pay a lot of money. It has to do with the ecology system that goes with the same style of the desert. So we have many places here in Egypt like this, but still we need more. Maybe you can give us an idea about the best places for those who would like to start to discover or to explore the Egyptian desert.
This is a very good thing you're talking about. But I think that, you know, when you go into the desert, sometimes you need a place where you can have a little break. Okay, if you are not a professional safari traveler, then it will be very hard on you to sleep a night after a night in the desert.
But who is the person who's going out? Because I have lived this by myself. For me, it was a little bit difficult. Yes. But for the other people, it was the white desert, for example. They enjoyed very much. They move into the tent. They don't need to take a shower every day or something like this. But for those, I mean, you can just have 2-star hotel, for example, because if you are going to take the budget and the money to be an excuse, so it's okay. All what I need is a room to sleep in and to continue exploring, maybe.
Yeah, yes, especially for those who have not a great experience in safari traveling. The point is, what I'm talking about is not necessarily a 5-star hotel,
Yes.
not such great facilities. I need a convenient facilities. Everyone who would travel into the desert with us, is there a good place where you can spend the night? Is there toilet facilities that we can have somewhere nearby? You know, I have to say that we do not have to ignore such a thing, and we should not think of the desert as a place of safari and that's it. No, a desert is a great place. In the oases themselves, there are many beautiful things to see. There are monuments there. There are great archaeological sites. You might have heard in the Bahariya Oasis of Bali about the Valley of Golden Mummies, for example. You know, there are sites that are much more important.
Okay, tell us more about this place.
You know, the Valley of Golden Mummies has been discovered recently. As we said that it has been discovered by a donkey fall on a ditch. Okay, it happens different places like the discovery of the catacomb more than 100 years ago. Okay, it was discovered by mere chance. It's some place which is located at the southern part of the Bahariya Oasis. And it happened to be a huge burial ground, a cemetery from Greco-Roman time. Roman mummies, I mean mummies in Roman time, that has been covered in gold paint. It means that the mask is gold painted. The whole mummy sometimes is gold painted. That's why they give it the name, the Valley of Golden Mummies. Okay, you know, the point is, this place was like a beehive in Roman time, the oasis. Look at the Roman, what they did to these places. You know, this is a place that supplies the Roman Empire with the wine that, you know, they say that the wine from the Egyptian oasis were the best wine in the whole world at that time. So they make good use of such a thing, not just by, you know, having wine and having, you know, Egypt was to feed Rome. We said that Egypt was the granary of Rome, and this, you know, didn't just come from the Valley of the Nile, it came from the oases as well. So they are, you know, a place that was a beehive. If you look at how huge the cemetery is, you would have known that the number of people who lived in these places in ancient time far exceeded the number of people who live in these places nowadays. So we are not developing these places anymore. I think we should give more attention. We should encourage people to come to these places. You know, we should not be concentrated on the valley and of the Nile and the Nile Delta. Egypt is such a big place, and we should discover Egypt the way it should be.
Mr. Amgad, of course, as a tour guide, you know that the different nationalities, they are oriented to different kinds of tourism. So some would like, for example, to visit the historical places, read more about it. Others would like to go diving, and others would go to the desert tourism. So what are the nationalities that are attracted to the desert tourism?
That's a very good question. I have to say you are quite right in what you have said. There are certain nationalities that are accustomed to what we call the safaris, for example. I think German, they like to do safari. I think Swiss people, you know, Switzerland, they like to do the safari. Italian like to do safari. It's part of the French culture also making safari. But the point is, it is us, the tour operators, who make such a thing. We should encourage other people to come. and do safari. If they are not accustomed to do safari the way it should be, we should take them step by step. It is us, the tour operator, who divides this nationality into people who are to do historical tours. There are people who are going to stay by the beach, but we have to change such a policy. You know, I think everyone coming to Egypt should see more. I don't want people to come to Egypt to stay like 1 or 2 nights or even a week. There are places in the world where people stay for 2 weeks and more. I think if we have, you know, better planning, more airport, good roads, facilities, that we can make Egypt a destination where people stay for a long time. I used to do a kind of a tour that we call it a super long cruise or a bus tour where people may stay for more than 2 weeks. We need to have this, you know, in our agenda one more time.
I think we have another privilege when it comes to our desert, for example, that it is not only limited to the idea of the desert, but also you can take the chance, like the Great Sand Sea, for example, the healthy sand dunes, and talking about medical tourism that has to do with nature itself. This is something very important because usually people across the world, foreigners in particular, the European people, they like this very much. And also talking about the Great Sand Sea, for example, the places over there, the springs over there. Could you elaborate on this?
Yeah, I think this is a good thing. That's why I say we should have people who have vision, people who are creative, people who had a story to make tourists coming to these places. We have beautiful stories about the Great Sand Sea, how it has swallowed a huge army, a Persian army, 500 years BC, an army of more than 50,000 Persian soldiers. How such, you know, huge sand dunes in the Great Sand Sea had swallowed up an entire oasis. You know, this is something that people, you know, is just a wonderland. So people would like to come to these places and explore where is the whereabout where the Persian army has disappeared, where is the whereabout of such a legendary oasis, you know. So there are many things about the desert, you know. If you're talking about the Great Sand Sea, it is stretching out, you know, it is just the border between Egypt and Libya nowadays, and it has a huge stretch out for more than 500 kilometers. You know, some of these dunes are over 100 meters in height. It can swallow up even pyramids, you know, like many of the pyramids that we have in Egypt. So they are wonderful places. If you talk about medical tourism, yes.
Being buried in the sand, for example.
Exactly. It's one of the things that tourists like doing. You know, if you suffer from any kind of disease that you need to go to a dry place to be cured, like asthma and other diseases, you know, chest disease and skin disease and many kind of diseases, you know, I think the desert is a very good place for such a thing. We should have this kind of hospital. We should do it in a primitive way. Why not? The way that people in the oasis do it. Okay, this is something which is traditional. This is something people have to see as well. But why don't we build like a medical, you know, center, a huge medical center that can cure such diseases when you need such a very dry place? Yeah, exactly. Just remember that the Aga Khan, was the leader of the Shiite Ismaili sect, you know, came to Egypt because he suffered from asthma, and he stayed in Aswan because Aswan is a beautiful, dry place. You know, it is the dryness of Aswan that cured him from his disease. And I think our desert can cure people from many different diseases. This is one aspect we think about, you know. I think we should think about how can we manipulate the desert. How can we bring each and everyone to such a place? But we need facilities.
Yes.
This is what I'm talking about.
So we could not, of course, speak about the desert tourism without speaking about ecotourism. So can you tell us more about this expression?
All right. You know, when I go to the you know, Western Desert, for example, it's a place which is hardly visited by people. You go into an expansive desert, vast desert. You know, this is a virgin place. Virgin in the meaning that it has not been touched by man. So we need to keep it in such a state. Even in the oases, like Siwa, for example. Siwa doesn't know anything about the tuk-tuk that we have in Cairo. This polite that we have in Cairo now is something that is not a means of transport in Siwa. Siwa is a very unique place, remote place, far away from the civilized world, but it's a very beautiful place. So ecotourism is getting people into such a place where you are connected with nature. So the building that you should have in these places should be connected with the environment, with nature itself. And that's why if you're building hotel, we are not recommend that people would build a hotel, you know, in
A modern one.
a modern one with concrete and, you know, like a 12 stories hotel. You know, it has something to be in balance and something to be connected
In
with.
harmony with the nature.
In harmony. This is the word I'm looking for. Thank you.
You know, talking about this, for example, also, I want to talk about the white desert
Mhm.
because I have been there. You know, in the very beginning, I didn't understand, is it going to be white desert, white sand, everything will be white, and the crystal, you know, stones over there. I didn't imagine. When I went there, I found many people, they have their tent, they are camping. Life there is completely different and far beyond imagination. I didn't see it elsewhere.
You know, I
But
think.
unfortunately, I'm sorry,
All
but
right, no.
unfortunately, always I have attended many of the, it's not conflicts, but different points of view. It has to do, it goes on between the environment and the tourism. Definitely the tourism, they want to, people
More
working in
people.
tourism or the ministry, they want to promote, they want people to go over there. Those of the environment, they don't want to have many people over there in order not to destroy the nature. Just as you said, it is virgin, untouched by human beings. So this is also another controversial part.
You are quite right. You know, many people who are like desert expert, they don't want influx of tourists into these places. You know, they want this place to be always the way it has been for millions of years ago. This place has been there and never changed, you know, millions of years, 40 million years, 200 million years. It's remote geological times. So we need people to come and see these places, but we should have some kind of education. There should be kind of a visitor center, for example, to teach people or to let people know this is a place that has been the way you see millions of years ago. And the White Desert is unique in the whole world. You know, it's a place that you're not going to see anywhere in the Saharan Desert. It's a place you're not going to see anywhere in the world, you know, because the White Desert is, you know, first of about its, you know, formation, it is formed from the skeletons of marine animals and tiny marine creatures, you know, has been, you know, accumulated on top of each other, and they form this beautiful white seabed. Now it's not a seabed anymore. The sea had gone far away from that. And the sand start to work things out. We have beautiful sand formation in the White Desert that looks.
And the stones as well.
Exactly.
Just I call it like the mushroom, you know,
Yes.
in a
Yes,
white,
one of the stones looks
transparent.
like a mushroom, another one looks like, you know, a sphinx, for example. There are many beautiful formation, and the point is, because it is snow white, the landscape, and because the sun, when it starts to rise, the sun starts rising, gives different colors to the White Desert. Sometimes you see it in pink color. Sometimes you see it, you know, in violet color. Sometimes you see it, you know, in silver color under the moonlight. Even have a full moon, you see it in. So it's a place that
As
has,
if it is a rainbow. I know it's
Ex-
not the
exa-
colors of the rainbow, but I
I-
mean,
exactly. It's a place that it's keep amazing you how with the passage of time it changed its, you know, like somebody like a model is changing her clothes every 5 minutes, for example, in a show, you know. So it's something like that. It's a place which it keeps changing the way it looks to people. The point is the White Desert should be visited, but I think we should have development of Farafra oasis. It is the nearest place where people can stay the night. You know, such development will make people come to the Farafra. They will bring more tourists to Farafra as a place,
But
and
Mr.
then they can travel 40 kilometers only to the White
If we
Desert.
speak about the people living there, I think they have a very important role in promoting the desert tourism because they have their different types of food aspirations, art, and all these things. Things which maybe many Egyptians, they know nothing about it. So what's the role that can be played by the inhabitants of these places in promoting desert tourism, not only for foreigners, but also for Egyptians? Because if Egyptians go there and they enjoy the place, of course, away from the modernization and all these recent things, they will promote themselves this kind of tourism.
You're quite right. You know, the human aspect is very important. You know, it's a very important factor. We should depend on people who know the desert very well. And there are no people who know the desert more than the people where they live nearby the desert. The people of the Bahariya Oasis, the Farafra, the Dakhla, and the Kharga as well. I think it's a treasure that we should make use of. Because these people know the place more than any other one. They know exactly which is the correct and the right time to go there. And which is, you know, a time would that not be a convenient time to go there. They know the desert as the palm of their hand. They know it very well. So these people are expert in the desert surrounding their in a place of habitation. So we should, you know, educate these people more. We should let them know that this is bringing money to your, you know, to your villages. They live in villages.
So in this sense, we can help them, educate them, and they can work.
Exactly.
Definitely offering job opportunities in tourism, and they will be the best people because they want to protect their land, they want to protect their the style of life over there, and they will be the only people who can just move inside the desert, because even I saw kids over there and they know the place just like his hand. He knows where he is going, because even though if I'm just taking a look over there, because I went many times in a safari to the deserts, I don't know where to go. It's an open area, no signs, nothing at all, but he knows where to take me. I didn't believe that this young boy can take me all around. In the very beginning, I was just scared, I was hesitated, but I found that he is an expert. But just he needs to know how to deal with people.
Exactly. This is exactly what you said. You know, we should invest on people. I myself, as a tour guide who makes safari, I don't trust drivers from Cairo. They are good drivers, but they don't know the desert the way that people in the oasis knew it, you know. So safety comes first. So I always trust the driver that are from these places. They know where to take me and when to take me, which is very important as well. And as you said,
And you raised something very important, because some people, they put themselves in a risk and put the blame on us. These places must not be touched or be visited without licensing, and you know the weather, any risky thing that might happen. So to be responsible for what you are doing.
This is exactly what you have said. It is extremely dangerous. If you try the desert on your own, don't take your 4x4 wheel drive and say, okay, I'm going to the white desert.
The hero.
You know, never like that. You know, you know, this is risking your own life. If you try to do something like that, you have to do with expertise, with people who know the desert very well. I'm a guide, and I would not trust people from any place in the world except the people who live in such neighborhood to take me around. So I think this is reckless, you know, and ridiculous also if you try to do this on your own. Never do such a thing in your own. If you're lost in the desert, it's a matter of life or death.
So, Mr. Amgad, if we wrap up the points needed, or what should we do in the short term, not of course on the long term, to promote the desert tourism? Very quickly, 1 or 2 points.
I think the first thing we have to do is, you know, to have a new vision. We need people with creative minds. I want to have something unique in the desert that suits the desert. And one of the things that we should do is building an observatory. You know, the stars are so beautiful, it's clear star. Why you do not build such a huge thing? People will come to Egypt, especially they are from North Europe. They hardly see the sky because it's always cloudy there. Why don't we make such a thing for the development of scientific research, you know, in Egypt, and also for letting people coming in such a place? There are many, you know, rich countries that doesn't have clear stars, and they come to Central America, for example, you know, in the desert of Chile, for example, to build observatories there. Why we do not build a big observatory? This would be a good place to promote this. Why do we don't build a big medical center there? We, you know, we have many things that attracts people. We should work on other things that we invent. We should be creative. We should invent something new. So people, okay, I have been to this place, but this is something that deserves that I should go back to see. So I think it is a matter of creativity, it's a matter of good vision, and it's a matter of people who are expert in the field of geology, in the field of astronomy, in the
And
field
let
of
me say also that we have an excellent opportunity that we have to take and see, we must seek this, that nowadays all around the world there is a certain, there is something that is very important, that most of the people started to be very much interested in green life, in ecology system, in exploring the desert and nature, and this is one of the most important parts. So maybe we can start at least with certain parts that are already ready for receiving till we work on other sides.
They are more than ready, I have to say.
Unfortunately, time is running up. Mr. Amgad Ali Hassan, tourism expert, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
And let me say that the Egyptian desert is a rich place, a beautiful place if you are interested to explore Egypt. If you are an adventurous person, you would like to spend a couple of days outside your routine life, away from everything. You will never imagine how life is going to be, how you are going to be. You are going to be very much interested, because over there you will be in a clear, direct contact with nature. You will be away from modernization, from everything, and you will enjoy life in the Egyptian desert. Moving on to a quick break, and we'll be back to resume the breakfast show.